Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Arc Synergy. Make sure you stick around. Today we're going to go over another state licensure information. So in those videos, you'll get all the information that you need in order to apply to renew your speech language pathology license in any state in the US. So feel free to check out our library of videos. Episodes, we go over each specific state licensure separately so they're easy to find and go through. And without any further ado, let's go into today's episode. Welcome back. This week we're going to finish up the licensure information on Illinois. And this week we're going to talk about how to renew your license in Illinois. So Illinois as renewal has a few specifics that are easy to miss if you are managing licenses from across multiple states. So the deadline to renew your license is October 31st of odd numbered years. The CEU total includes a mandatory ethic hour that is separate from your general hours, and the reinstatement process as a hard 5-year mark where it can get significantly more involved if you don't know what to look for. So let's go through it. So, as I said, Illinois SLP licenses expire October 31st of odd numbered years. It is a biannual cycle, so it renews every 2 years. In most states, if you are used to even year renewal expiration dates or even December deadlines from other states, this one, you just have to be reminded that this one is odd numbered years. So, for example, it would be next year would be the renewal for Illinois SLP licenses. Make sure you keep your address up to date and your email as well. So whenever the time period changes for some reason, those renewal notices will get to you straight away. If you currently hold an active license, the renewal fee is $100. If you hold a temporary license, the renewal fee will be $50. And I went over the temporary licenses, the one-time renewal requirement last week, so feel free to listen to last week's episode to get more information about that. So now let's go over the CEU hours requirement. One thing to note before we get into that is that there are no CEU required if it is your first time, your first cycle renewing. So only in your first cycle do you have a CEU exemption. In the following cycle, you will need to keep up with all the CEU requirements. So Illinois requires 20 continuing education hours per the 2-year cycle. So here's what you need to do. You need one of the 20 hours requires must be in ethics. And this is mandatory and cannot be substituted with another general topic CEU. You need to have up to 5 hours per cycle, can come from postgraduate training. So if you're getting your PhD or teaching or publishing per publication or presentation, you can count up to 5 hours from those. And remote CEU completion. So if you're watching a video remotely, like online, those are accepted if it is from an approved sponsor and it included an exam components. That's usually like after the quiz that you take after you watch the CEUs. And approved CEU sponsors, of course, are ASHA, AEA, the Illinois Professional Association, accredited universities, or division approved sponsors. Usually, if it's an ASHA approved CE provider, it will usually count for the state as well. All the CEU information, like your certificates, needs to be retained for 5 years because random audits can happen up to 5 years prior. And this is a good segue for me to remind you that you can store all your certificate and CEUs in the Arc Synergy app, and we'll keep them stored for you, and we'll email you your record whenever or you end up needing them. Illinois will consider CEU waivers in case of illnesses, military service, or other extenuating hardship circumstances. Excuse me. If you need one, you can request it in advance before your license expires. Last minute requests can get harder to process, and then you risk letting your license lapse. So requesting those waiver in advance is a good step.
I hope that today's episode have been really enjoyable for you so far. Please take the time to leave us a review, to leave us a comment, and to like today's episodes. It will really help us develop those videos and put them out faster. And if you have the time, feel free to check out the Arc Synergy app on both iOS and Android. The app is free and there's a free clinician plan, so you don't have to worry about doing any subscription to get started in the app. And let me know what you think. Now, let's get back into the episode.
If you hold a school PEL, so this is the certificate that you need if you're practicing in the school system. We went over them 2 weeks ago when we talked about the full licensures in Illinois. But if you hold such certificate alongside with your clinical license, the renewal process is pretty streamlined. So once you renew your SLP license, the PEL CE requirements are automatically satisfied as well. So you don't need any additional hours specifically to keep up with that certificate. Renewal is handled in ELIS once the state license is active. Early intervention providers have a separate requirement. So if you work in early intervention, you need 30 hours of early intervention training time, approved continuing education every 3 years to maintain early intervention credentialing. So that runs on a different cycle than your SLP license. So keep that in mind if you're an early intervention provider. Now let's talk about if your license is expired. So Illinois gives you a 5-year deadline that will determine what you owe and the step that you need to take if you want to reinstate your license that expired. So if your license has expired and it's been 5 years or less, you will submit a restoration application. You will pay $50 restoration fee plus all lapse renewal fee, which is $100 per biennium for each period that you've missed. And you need to provide proof of 20 CEU hours for the current cycle only. So now, if your license has been expired for more than 5 years, you still need to do all of the things that I just talked about for if it was expired 5 years or less, plus you must appear before the Illinois board in person to complete an in-person part of the process. You also, of course, like I said, need to complete the 20 CE hours. You also need to provide one of the following to demonstrate competency. So you can either provide an active SLP license in another state with verification of license that your license is in good standing, or you can do an affidavit of qualifying military service if you were in the military, or you can provide proof of passing the Praxis exam within 1 year prior to your restoration application. For renewal and restoration questions, you can find the board's contact information, including their phone numbers and their email address, in the Arc Synergy app. We keep all of those information up to date, and you'll be able to contact the board directly to ask for any questions that you may have. So here's a quick recap of Illinois, from the full license to the provisional license to the renewal license that we covered over these 3 weeks. So Illinois is not part of the ASLP compact, so it doesn't have any compact privilege. If you are a C holder, so if you have your ASHA Cs, you might be able to use the 90-day temporary practice window while you're waiting for your application to be approved. For provisional license applicants, remember to take your Praxis exam first before you apply for the provisional license. If you are about to renew your license, remember the renewal is October 31st of odd numbered years with 20 CEU hours requirements, including 1 ethic hour. If your license has been expired for more than 5 years, expect to complete an in-person board interview. And that is it. We're all done with Illinois. I will see you next week for another state. Thanks for watching.